Okay, good morning. Time for our next stop in our tour of the world in 1750s. And our next stop is the Americas. Just as a quick note, when we're talking about the Americas, plural, we are talking about both North and South America, which, while very different, did share some similarities during this time period. So, let's dive in. In the 1750s, the vast majority of the Americas, both North and South, are colonized and completely controlled by various European nations. Okay? The green areas are controlled by Spain. That orange area is controlled by controlled by Portugal. Blue areas are controlled by France, and the red parts are controlled by Britain. Notice that just about everywhere has been colonized. Okay. There are some areas, primarily in North America, though, that did remain under control of the native or indigenous populations. And honestly, while France had claimed this whole big chunk in the middle of what will become the United States, they aren't really controlling most of it. So, at least in 1750, the indigenous populations do still control some of what will become the United States. And colonization does have its upside. There were benefits to the European conquest of the Americas. New foods, new products, new ideas, and new materials are able to spread across the world. Okay, a lot of our favorite foods today would not be possible without the interaction between the Europeans and the native populations in the Americas. Some people are going to become unbelievably wealthy because of this system. And many people will see their lives improve. In general, this time period sees people having more money, just all people across the board financially are going to be better off in this period of time. Okay, people are going to be healthier because of new medical advancements and better nutrition. Okay, so many people see their lives improve. But, there's always a but. These economic and social advances come at a cost. So, the economy of the Americas is based on what we generally refer to as triangle trade. Okay. And triangle trade is controlled by the Europeans. Okay. Britain, France, Spain, Portugal. Okay. And what they would do is sail their ships down the coast of Africa, where they would get their hands on as many enslaved people as they could, sail those enslaved people across the Atlantic Ocean, drop them off in the Caribbean, down in Brazil, up in what will become the United States, to work on plantations. Massive, massive, massive farms that could only exist with slave labor. They wouldn't be profitable if you had to pay workers. And depending on where the plantation was, it could have been producing sugar, coffee, cotton, tobacco. Okay. Those goods would then be gathered up along with raw materials like lumber, shipped back across the Atlantic Ocean where they are turned into goods. And then the whole thing keeps going. Okay. If you are an African or of African descent, this system obviously does not work for you. Okay. Probably you would end up enslaved. And even if you didn't, as you should have already seen from our look at what was happening in sub-Saharan Africa, okay, the slave trade decimates most parts of Africa. Okay. The indigenous people also not going to do well. Those that don't die from contact with European disease or with the initial battles of the Europeans showing up, okay, are also either enslaved or, for all intents and purposes, enslaved, even if technically they are free. Okay. And if you are one of the hundreds of thousands of white European settlers that come to the Americas, life probably did improve for you, okay, because you will have opportunities in the Americas that you would not have had back home in Europe. So there are some pluses, even on the economic side, but not necessarily that outweigh the costs. Okay. Society in the Americas is primarily based on racial identity. Okay. White people who are born in Europe are at the top of the social pyramid, followed by white people who were born in the Americas, followed by mixed race people, followed by enslaved and indigenous people. Okay. Depending on where you lived, depended on how rigid those social hierarchies are. If you live in Spanish colonial territory, it's very rigid. And even the difference between white people born in Europe versus white people born in the Americas, vast divisions. If you live in French or British territory, the divisions are not as stark in some ways. Okay? If you live in British territory, quite honestly, the difference is just white versus not white. And the same in French territory, although there is a little bit more racial, I'd say tolerance, not equality, in French territory. Okay. You will see, though, that situation in the Americas is going to change dramatically, very quickly. By 1783, the United States is now its own country, no longer controlled by the British. Okay, we are independent. By 1800, Haiti has already begun its fight for independence from France. By 1810, the struggle that's going to lead to Mexican independence from Spain has also already started, although in 1810 it's not going particularly well, but that fight has begun. Okay. And by the 1820s, just about all of South America, not Brazil, but the Spanish territories, have also gained their independence. So you see the situation change very quickly. And again, that will have mixed results. White people of European descent will do much better in independent American countries than mixed race, indigenous, or African, or people of African descent. Even after independence, Haiti is going to be the only one of these countries that will bring an end to enslavement. So independence does not necessarily make things better for everyone, though it will make things better for some. Okay, remember that this video does not go over all of the details in the reading, so you should still make sure you are using the reading to complete your assignment. Okay, and enjoy the rest of your day.